Imagine you have nowhere to sleep tonight. No home, no bed, no door to lock. Just a patch of pavement and the hope that morning comes. In 1985, in the city of Bombay, someone was hunting those people, and they were so good at it that 40 years later, we still don't know who they were. Between 1985 and 1989, at least 26 people were murdered in two of India's biggest cities, Mumbai and Calcutta. The weapon was always the same, a stone dropped onto a sleeping person's head in the dark while the city slept around them. The killer was never found. The killer was never even seen. India called him the Stoneman. Everything you are about to hear comes from verified newspaper archives, police records, and court documents. This is not a story. This happened, and the fact that it is still unsolved 40 years later is something India has never fully reckoned with. Bombay, 1985. Population 9 million people. The financial capital of India. Bollywood, business, money. And on every footpath, in every underpass, beneath every railway bridge, thousands of people with nowhere else to be, sleeping every night. On the night of June 15, 1985, a man was sleeping alone near King's Circle. In the morning, people walking past stopped. His head had been crushed. A stone weighing 30 kilograms had been dropped onto it. His face was so disfigured that nobody could identify him. The police noted it, filed a report, and moved on. A few weeks later, another body. Same method. Head crushed, stone nearby, sleeping alone, no witnesses. Again, the police noted it, filed a report, and moved on. It was not until the sixth murder, 6 dead bodies, that the Mumbai police looked at their files and realized they were looking at a serial killer. 6 murders, all homeless, all sleeping alone, all killed between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m., all with a stone of approximately 30 kilograms. Always a single blow. No theft, no witnesses, no motive that anyone could explain. The stone weighed 30 kilograms. That is 65 pounds. Think about that for a moment. This person was lifting 65 pounds, carrying it through a sleeping city, and dropping it onto someone's head in complete silence, and nobody ever saw them do it. There was one survivor, a homeless waiter. He had been sleeping in Sion when he felt something above him. He moved, just enough, just in time. The stone missed. He ran. He reported it to the police. The detective asked him, "What did the stone man look like?" The survivor said, "I don't know. It was dark. I was asleep. By the time I understood what was happening, he was already gone." That was the only description Mumbai police ever had of a killer who had just committed his 7th murder. Gone into the dark. The police deployed officers across the city, undercover, lying on pavements, pretending to sleep, weapons hidden under blankets, waiting, and the stone man killed again, right next to a police patrol, and disappeared. By 1988, 12 people were dead in Mumbai. And then the killing stopped, not slowed, not reduced, stopped completely. The city exhaled. The police closed the file, and the homeless slowly stopped sleeping in groups, slowly forgot to be afraid, slowly went back to being invisible. June 1989, Calcutta, a different city, 800 kilometers away. A body found near Howrah Bridge, head crushed, stone nearby, sleeping alone, no witnesses. The Calcutta police looked at their file, and the Mumbai police looked at their file, and then looked at each other, and thought the unthinkable. Is it the same person? The Stoneman had not stopped. The Stoneman had moved cities, from the biggest city in India to the second biggest, and started again. In 6 months, 13 more people were killed in Calcutta. All homeless, all sleeping, all alone, all with a stone, all between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. The method was identical. The precision was identical. The invisibility was identical. On September 8, 1989, the 7th Calcutta victim was found, 1 block from police headquarters. 1 block. The Stoneman had killed in the shadow of the building where the detectives hunting him worked. It was not a mistake. It was a message. The city panicked. The homeless began sleeping in shifts. Groups of 10, 15 people, rotating, who stayed awake, watching the darkness, watching the stones, watching each other's backs, because the police, despite everything, could not protect them. And then, in November 1989, after 13 murders in Calcutta, after 12 murders in Mumbai, after 25 dead bodies, after 4 years of terror across 2 cities, the killing stopped. Again, permanently. No arrest, no confession, no explanation. The Stoneman simply ceased. 40 years later, police have 5 theories. None of them have ever been proven. Let me take you through each one and let you decide which one you believe. Theory 1. One man, a single killer who was extremely physically strong, mentally methodical, and who chose the most invisible victims in 2 of India's most crowded cities, specifically because he knew that nobody would look very hard. He stopped because he died, or was imprisoned for something else, or simply decided to stop. Theory 2. 2 Stonemans, Mumbai and Calcutta, were different killers. A copycat who read about the Mumbai murders in newspapers and was inspired. Both were never caught. Both simply stopped. The similarity in method was not coincidence. It was imitation. Theory 3. A group. Not one person, but an organized group, possibly with a ritualistic motive. The 2009 film about the case depicted the killer as a policeman performing tantric rituals. The director admitted it was fiction, but the theory was not his invention. The Calcutta police received anonymous tips suggesting the murders were connected to occult practices. They investigated, found nothing. Theory 4. A policeman. Multiple investigators over the years pointed to the same disturbing possibility. The killer knew police patrol patterns perfectly. The killer knew which areas were least monitored. The killer operated in the gap between shifts. Either the Stoneman was a police officer, or the Stoneman had one. Theory 5. The most disturbing one, the one that investigators whispered but never said publicly. The Stoneman was tolerated. In 1989, a Calcutta newspaper reporter wrote something that was never officially acknowledged. He wrote that when the Stoneman murders began, some city residents expressed relief that the streets were being cleaned, that the problem was being solved. Nobody in power ever said this, but nobody pushed very hard to stop it. The victims had no families filing reports, no lawyers demanding answers, no politicians whose voters cared. They were erased, and the city let it happen. 26 people were killed. Most of them have no names on any official record. They were counted as bodies, not as people, not as sons, not as fathers, not as human beings with histories and futures, just bodies, found on a pavement, counted, filed, forgotten. In 2016, 27 years after the last Stoneman murder in Calcutta, similar killings began in Assam. A man was arrested. He was not the original Stoneman. He could not have been. He was too young. But he had heard the stories. He had found a blueprint left by someone who was never caught. And he used it. Here is what we know for certain. Between 1985 and 1989, at minimum 25 people were murdered in their sleep in India. The killer was never identified, never photographed, never arrested. The case files still exist in police archives in Mumbai and Calcutta. They have never been officially closed. They have simply never been solved. And here is what I cannot stop thinking about. The Stoneman chose the most invisible people in two cities, people whose deaths would generate the least outrage, the least investigation, the least pressure to find answers. That choice was not random. That choice required a knowledge of how the world works, of whose lives matter and whose do not. That is not the psychology of a mindless killer. That is the psychology of someone who understood power. The Stoneman case is not just a true crime story. It is a story about which lives a city chooses to protect, about which murders a society chooses to solve, about power and invisibility, and who decides whose death matters. In 2026, those questions have not been answered. In India or anywhere, I want to know what you think. Which theory do you believe? One killer, two cities, 4 years apart, or something darker? Drop your theory in the comments. I read every single one. This is Cold Cases India. India has stories the world has never heard, and we are just getting started.